me. If you're looking for Tiffany Henyard, press the subscribe button. Yes, you. Press the subscribe button. So, what you want me to talk about? This or that? This and that?
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the highly controversial and allegedly corrupt mayor of Dalton, Illinois, out there in the South Chicago suburbs, Tiffany Henyard, launching a podcast on Spotify. And you saw the promo clip for it at the very beginning of this video. Now, there is so much I want to say, and there's more news aside from the podcast we'll get to in a minute, more breaking news about her. But first things first, is this a narcissist? Isn't that what that is? Somebody that's all about themselves, can't see anything else other than themselves? Is that what that is? I mean, I'm no therapist, and I'm not trying to use the buzzword of the moment, but that's what it looks like to me. If that's right, wrong, or whatever, y'all let me know in the comments below. But this person is a whole big mess, having their face and their name all over the town on posters and billboards and charities in her name, which are now being investigated by the federales. You're trying to shake down businesses locally to get, quote unquote, donation money for your campaign or for this or for that. And if they don't want to comply, you take the police and use them as a weapon against the business to shut them down. There's all kind of things going on. And not to mention all the money that she is allegedly spending on lavish trips all over the country, going to the West Coast, going to New York City, going to ATL, going to Catch and Fogo, and raising the river, raising the city, Capitol Grill, all the above. And the latest thing, as I said, she has a podcast. Now, before I go any further, let's check out local news out there in Chicago about this podcast. And if you want to see this video and anything else, of course, links will be in the description. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is launching what she calls the most entertaining political podcast ever.
Yes, but this all comes as she is being investigated by the FBI for allegations of corruption.
You would think right now, well, you're under investigation by the federales, you wouldn't launch a podcast. Maybe you might just want to take a chill pill. And before I continue, shout out to Anita Blanton. She used to be over in Virginia on Wavy. So big fan of hers. Personal note, but I digress.
Roseanne joins us live with more details on what she is up to now. Roseanne.
Well, Anthony, Anita, last week, even as residents lined up at a Board of Trustees meeting to question her conduct in office, she continues to call herself the super mayor. And her new podcast, debuting next week on Spotify, is called Truth Speaks, the Tiffany Henyard on the Move podcast.
Why do these people need to talk more when they're being investigated by the feds? Tiffany Henyard and also Fani Willis. Fani, what she does is go to church and lie on the pulpit, allegedly. And then Tiffany Henyard launches a whole podcast. When you're under investigation, your lawyer should say, hey, don't say a word. Don't say anything. No comment. I'm not going to talk. Ignore paparazzi. Ignore reporters. Don't do any talking. But what do? Talk more. It makes no sense.
Now, it comes as Henyard is being investigated by federal agents, we know. Since Henyard took office back in 2021, some local business owners have complained that they can't get their licenses renewed and are being harassed after refusing to donate to Henyard events.
It's called a shakedown. That's what it is. This is like some mafia type action that she has going on in Dalton and also Thornton Township, which is not too far away from Dalton, pardon me.
The police chief accuses Henyard of misusing her security detail, and Henyard has spent taxpayer money on trips and self-promoting billboards.
So I heard you guys was looking for me. If you're looking for Tiffany Henyard, press the subscribe button. Yes, you. Press the subscribe button. So, what you want me to talk about? This or that? This and that?
So, if you can't see the screen, she's talking about salaries, repos, Vegas, security. So, did she have any vehicles repossessed in her name? Is that what happened? And her salary, I mean, how much money are you siphoning from the people, the security that you have, unnecessary, like you're Kamala Harris or somebody, you're just a regular person, and then trips to Vegas, Atlanta, New York, et cetera, so on and so forth, on the taxpayer's dime.
Or me.
And there's a taste of that podcast, which again is supposed to start on Spotify next week. Now, the Board of Trustees did vote just last week to have her investigated after those residents sounded off about her lack of accountability.
Now, we're going to get to the Board of Trustees here because that's also a thing that we need to talk about. Let's check this out.
The grown-up thing would be for her to resign. Just get out of here, leave town. But she's not going to do that. You have disgraced this entire village and also disrespected each and every one of us.
Now, what I want to know is what's the process to get her out of office? How does that really work? That's what I want to know, because whatever the process is, I think the people of Dalton would like to start it sooner than later. That's my assumption. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong.
In a special board meeting tonight, Dalton trustees voting to investigate controversial Mayor Tiffany Henyard. This comes as we have learned federal agents are investigating her and allegations of corruption.
Our Elizabeth Matthews was inside that heated board meeting. She's live in Dalton. Elizabeth.
Scott and Don, one trustee saying tonight that this is their last resort, their last stance. They cannot continue to stand by and see millions of dollars wasted. Tiffany Henyard didn't show up in person, but she was brought up in conversation and a vote.
Motion passed for resolution number 24-002, calling for investigation of Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
The 4-trustee majority voting unanimously to call for an investigation into Henyard and what they say is the misuse of funds.
The Board of Trustees has repeatedly asked for financial information that we feel is entitled and has been denied that information. So we feel that we need to get intervention from somebody that can force this kind of action.
Who are you asking for that intervention? What bodies?
We're asking the FBI, State's Attorney, Attorney General, and Cook County Sheriff's Office.
Henyard became mayor in 2021 and
There needs to be some kind of intervention because, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. This lady has been doing this kind of stuff for at least a couple years. At least 2 years this has been going on. So how long can it continue to happen before there's any kind of action taken against her?
for at least 2 of the 3 years, Fox 32 has been reporting on allegations of corruption.
You see the security detail? That's something else. Like, look at this. Like, who is this lady? You're talking about a small town mayor. Why do we need the black car and all this extra stuff? You don't even need this guy's help to get out of the vehicle. You just want to do it for the camera that's recording you. Somebody's cell phone, probably from your team that you're paying for the taxpayers' money to record you. For what?
On allegations
It's called vanity. It's called being a narcissist.
of corruption in her capacity as mayor and Thornton Township supervisor. Concerns have led to trustees calling special meetings to get things done.
This meeting is an attempt for this legislative board to save Dalton.
They voted on items including asking for receipts for the mayor's trips and getting keys to Village Hall.
This has been a stain on our community. It's no way that we should be locked out of a place where we pay taxes.
Residents in attendance approving of the board's stance.
This has to stop. She cannot continue to intimidate and gangster her way through this.
That's exactly the correct word. Intimidation and gangstering her way through the whole process. That's what's going on. Aside from the vanity stuff, it's a lot of mob type activity happening here.
We're not giving up because we refuse to let Tahoe Tiffany take our community.
I did reach out to the mayor
Tahoe Tiffany, hilarious.
for comment tonight. I didn't hear back from her, but through a PR company, I did hear back from the village administrator, Keith Freeman. He says in a statement, quote, "This is just another example of a few trustees in the village of Dalton spreading lies and false allegations. These are the same trustees that cut the public safety budget by $3.8 million, eliminated the bond for garbage removal, and have charged over $5 million in frivolous lawsuits that the Dalton taxpayers are stuck with the tab."
You know what? I think that there are some people who are going to be loyalists to Tiffany Henyard in the city administration because they could be on the payroll, getting some of that illicit taxpayer revenue, allegedly, going on some of these trips, allegedly. That could be what's going on, because I don't see any other reason why they would stay by this woman. There's so much evidence out there. There's so much stuff happening. And now the feds are involved. It's not just nothing. Okay, it ain't just about a few quote unquote trustees spreading lies. You're talking about some really serious allegations from up top, or really serious investigation from up top from the federales. When the federales come to your little small village in suburban Chicago, Illinois, you know that there's a problem. But as I close, I want to say this. A podcast right now, you got to be the dumbest person on planet Earth. When the feds come to your little small village in Illinois, what you want to do is start a podcast. And I saw some editing right there. And I know Tiffany Henyard is not a graphic designer or anything like that. So who's paying for the editing? Who's paying for the production? Who's paying for the equipment? Who's paying for the launch? Who's paying for the PR company that responded to the news when they reached out to her? I mean, where's all the money coming from? I think we can add 2 + 2 and easily still get 4, even in 2024. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on Tiffany Henyard's podcast? Are you going to tune in? Are you not going to tune in? Are you wondering what I'm wondering, which is where is she getting the money to produce this thing? She's not just doing it on her own with her own merits and her own equipment and editing herself. She's not doing that. You're too busy going on trips to Atlanta and New York and West Coast, going to wineries, going to 4- and 5-star restaurants, spending $1,000, $2,000 on one bill. You're too busy doing that than to produce a podcast yourself. But whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This lady is 1,000% ridiculous. And things like this is evident of what I'm talking about. It's 1,000% evident. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.